Hey, what's up, welcome back to another Poem Mass video, and tonight we have our very first 5-unit feature, Variety Scout, right? So let's get into this, because it's gonna be a long one, folks. So, alright, so, yeah, so the 5 units are, you got Giovanni, Rhydon, right? You have Ariana, Arbok, you have Petrel, Wheezing, Archer and Houndoom, right? And then Proton and Golbat. Yes! I got them all. Finally memorized. Anyways, alright, so there is a mission that gives you a free ticket to get one of them for free, so keep that in mind, right? Again, we're not 100% sure how these banners are going to be formatted. Are they like legit actually going to be all 5 in one banner? Is that how it's going to work, right? Or you know, or do they maybe split it up a bit, or however, right? So yeah, there's just a lot of things we don't know about this banner, right? Because there's a lot of different things that could happen with these, what the rates are for each, right, and all that stuff. But yeah, we do get a ticket for one, right? I think it's random. I don't think you get to choose which one. But yeah, it's of the 4. So Giovanni's not in it, but we do get one for free. So that's nice, at least, right? So anyways, let's get into these. Let's start with the boss himself, Giovanni. So this one's I'd say probably grand prize in here, right? He's by far the best one, right? He's just a really powerful unit and does a lot of different and very useful things, right? So as for some of the upsides, obviously you have Ground Zone and Sandstorm, and they both have extension, right? Because he is a field unit, so he does get Ground Zone and extension on that first sync, but he also does get Sandstorm as well, right? On his B move when used for the first time, and that also gets extended with his passive here as well. Also protect your entire team from Sandstorm, right? And obviously he has a lot of Sandstorm based passives and such, right? So that's really nice. And then you have 3 different types. You got ground, ice, and water. Obviously ground's by far the strongest one for him, right? So there's that. And yeah, he's self-sufficient and he has guaranteed crit, so his passive just straight up on entry gives him attack and special attack +6, like straight up. You don't even have to like press a button. So yeah, and then you have guaranteed crit on your trainer move, right? Which if you also combine that with critical crit 9 on your grid, right? Which makes it so that you know, every time you crit, you get guaranteed crit next afterwards, right? So you just could chain that to infinite crits basically. And yeah, you also have physical, special, and super effective up next as a support on your trainer move as well. You could use it on yourself, you could use it on your ally. Also free move next, right? So that's really nice. And ZX Striker for his Striker EX roll. And I forgot, good damage, right? So yeah, really powerful damage. Again, not so much in like ground or not ground, the other two, right, outside of ground, but definitely the ground type damage, which also extends to sync as well, right? Which is why, you know, EX Striker sync is also pretty nice. Like, you know, guy has like Haymaker, Sandblaster, super duper effective 5, right? Which obviously applies to sync as well. So yeah, with you know, almost 400 base physical attack, so that's nice. Do keep in mind he's a field type, so he doesn't actually have like a tech innate on his sync, so there's that too, right? As for some downsides, he is pretty slow, right? He does have some things to help with his gauges. He has a few like free move next stuff that you could work with, but you know, he is ultimately a slow unit, right? 244 speed, all 4 gauge moves, so that's kind of tough. And also your sand and ground zone, they both get extended, but they're only, yeah, it's only once, right? So in the legendary arena that might be a bit tough. It should be fine for something like master mode though, so you know, it's not that bad, but it's it is still only once. As for lucky skills, right? Again, Crit Strike 2 is old reliable. You could always go with that. But you know, since he does set Sandstorm herself, Weather Warrior 3 could be a nice option, right? Speedy Entry 2 could be a nice option, or Move Cage Refresh, low key, right? Because again, his big issue really is more so gauges rather than damage, right? Because he does pretty good damage already. You probably want to work on the gauges, especially if you are running him with you know, some of the other ground type units, right? Because he does set ground zone, so like, yeah, a lot of those ground type units like are pretty slow. The only exception, at least, you know, relevant one, probably just Cynthia, right? So yeah, I'd recommend gauges honestly for him in terms of lucky skill, but you can still do damage if you want. In terms of synchrons, at 2 out of 5, I'd probably go something like this, right? Where you have the most important node, Sands of Time 3, right? But also, you know, super synchro if you are syncing with them, right? And mostly the others just crushing earthquake BP ups, right? And then there's that attack plus 20 on the top right, and then like Sandcastle, I guess, just because you don't have really much to spend elsewhere. You could do the other moves as well, right? They're just pretty straightforward. It's just like for like Icy Wind and stuff, you just don't really have anything, because like other than this special attack plus 20, but like all the other stuff is just based on sand, right? So, and are you really gonna run Icy Wind right on in sand, or Surf right on in sand? I mean, maybe like just if you don't have rain or hail or ice zone. Well, I guess ice zone doesn't really conflict with sand, but yeah, like if you don't have those, you could still run it in sand and pick up, I don't know, Sands of Time still or whatever, right? But yeah, you don't have too much at 2 out of 5. So at 3 out of 5, if you just want to go for like big damage, I guess you could go try something like this, right? You know, it gives you the Haymaker on top, super duper effective 5, Sandblaster 9, so like, you know, it will give you a really powerful sync, right? I'd still go for Sands of Time, but if you want super syncer instead, sure, I guess, right? Just for, you know, more damage. But in this case, you'd have to bring someone to buff his crit though, so keep that in mind, I guess. Right? But I guess in most case scenarios, you probably want the critical crit here. You know, if you don't have a crit buffer, obviously that's probably the better option, right? So, you know, you could do something like that instead. I suppose there's not too much in terms of just going for like pure DPS, because like it's only like DPS node is really outside of just DP buffs. It's just like super duper effective 5, right? So if you want to do that, that's all right, right? You could substitute, you do something like that, which sure, right? You're just losing out on Sands of Time, which is again, in my opinion, kind of important, right? Cases wise. As for like an Icy Wind build, right? You could pick up the Icy Wind Superify 9 over here, right? Which guaranteed, you know, AoE special defense drops, which is cool. But outside that, again, still critical crit, super duper effective 5, right? Obviously that all applies, assuming you're probably not syncing with him, right? Because he doesn't have an ice type sync. So yeah, you could go with that in terms of Icy Wind. Surf, you do have some really nice options down here at the Surf route, like gauges wise, because first of all, you have Brain Gain, right? So you get special move up next there, but you also have Catalytic Kick, which obviously helps with your gauges, right? So you could probably do that, but you know, if you still need critical crit, then you're losing out on some damage over here, right? Because again, you don't have super duper effective 5, so it really just depends on which route you're going down here, right? So yeah, I guess that's like the only thing you have to worry about. So if you're going for the Surf down there. So moving on to team comms. So yeah, in terms of if we're just going for like something ground wise, I'd say something like this is really nice. And you know, if you think, oh my god, it's Tapu Bulu again, yeah, it is. I mean, but this is supposed to be a sand team. Why are Tapu Bulu, right? Okay, look. Okay, it's sand team, but it's also a physical team, right? So that's where Tapu Bulu comes in once again, right? So yeah, I mean, the best physical support is the best physical support, right? Just non-stop physical move up next. It's yeah, right? Because he doesn't really need Sun to get you physical move up next, right? So it's yeah. Also, like, or you could just do the Sun stuff first and then set Sandstorm later, because you don't have to set Sandstorm immediately, right? You set Sandstorm. It's only on like your first B move anyways, so you know, you have like 2 turns beforehand in Sun or whatever. Or again, you straight up don't even need Sun at all, right? So that's really nice. Obviously, Cynthia wise, it is assuming if you do, you know, 4 5 5 5, right? So you have an extra Dust Kicker, right? I think Soundler's overkill, but you know, extra Dust Kicker here. And she, of all the ground type damage healers, right? She's again just the one that actually has some like real speed, right? Like, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good in comparison. And obviously she the personal speed buffs and sand, right? And then she also has like Sands of Time as well, all that stuff. So yeah, she's definitely really a good option here. And yes, you don't have to do Ace Roll, but you still go with something like Ingo. I would not really recommend her just because, again, it's so slow, right? Even though theoretically, oh, it's nice, ground rebuff, AoE, you know, whatever, defense debuff, like, yeah, but like she is so slow, man. She is so slow. Ingo, I think is a bit faster, and he has the free move next thing, right? So it's not as bad. But yeah, yeah, support wise, you know, you can still go with the good old, you know, reliable Sonya over here, right? Which is fine. But yeah, outside of that, if you do want to do any of the other ground units, right? If you want to do like double Giovanni or Camerupt or Maxi or whatever, right? Use some of the faster supports. Gotta use some of the faster supports, man. So yeah, that's all I gotta say in terms of that. Like ice type and water type comms, it's yeah, it's pretty standard. Just sets someone's set rain / Irida, right, for each one of those. It's yeah. Again, I don't really see people use him for the other 2 that often, just because like it's not really that great in comparison to the ground type, but it's still alright. So, well, congratulations, we went through the first one. All right, so next let's talk about Archer and Houndoom over here. And all right, so yeah, for this unit, there's quite a few really nice things about it. First of all, it's very fast, right? You know, almost 400 speed. It has speed buffs for your entire team, right? +3 over there, so that's definitely nice. It is a sprint unit, so that makes sense, right? It also has obviously the single move countdown from the train move, from the EX, you know, the sprint sync, right? And then there's also like propulsion and other stuff in the grid as well. So yeah, you have a decent amount of that. You also have flinch, 30% on bite, and then it has aggravation in the grid, top left corner. I mean, I guess it also has like stuff like gobsmack for confusion and like burn on scorching touch, but you know, they're not like as important, I guess. Let's be real. So yeah, it also has evasion buffs +3 on your train move as well, right? Which is kind of rare, I guess. So that's a kind of a rare buff. And then you have speed debuffs for opponents. There's trip up in the grid, but there's also his own passive, right, which debuffs opponents of the speed of opponents by 1 every time your attack is successful, and then it's -2 after you use a sync move. So yeah, it's an AoE speed debuffer, so that's cool. And then yeah, it also has a pretty good nuke, right? You have 424 physical attack, right? That's what, 464 physical attack at, you know, at EX, right? You do have an innate sync move countdown, or sync move countdown, sync nuke multiplier over there, right? And then on top of that, you have like Speedster Sinks 5, and then Cakewalk, right, as well. And you have a Tech EX roll, so this guy's nuke should be very, very, very powerful, right? So should be an incredibly powerful dark type nuke over here. As for like cons, it's just bad DPS. I mean, it is what it is. Flame charge and bite, you know, no matter how many multipliers, can't really get you too much. And there's also not that many multipliers. Like, yeah, there's super duper effective 5 and then like chase down 5. I guess that's not, you know what, that's an alright amount, but yeah, it's not gonna get you not gonna get you anywhere, unfortunately. So yeah, that's gonna make it what, 100% multiplier if I add those two together. Yeah, that's not, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's obviously not anywhere close to like modern levels, right, in terms of damage dealers. So yeah, if like that's the only con, which I don't think it's that bad, right, compared to like the rest of the, you know, all the other good things that this kit gives. So moving on, lucky skill wise for Archer, I mean, you could just still go with the usual, right? Crit Strike 2 over here, maybe super, you know, super powered 3, I guess, maybe, right? So yeah. Oh wait, was Giovanni super powered 5 or super duper effective? Oh no, super duper effective 5. All right. So ignore what I said earlier about it boosting sync. So yeah, yeah, you can still go with those. If you want, you can maybe go with Defense Crush, I guess, just to make his, you know, just make his regular moves to do something a bit more, perhaps, right? So yeah, I guess those are options. Oh yeah, I forgot about one other downside, which is his own buffs, right? Because he doesn't have any like his only crit buff is like sharp entry over here, right? And he's still, you know, on top of that, missing +2 physical attack. So I guess yeah, that's a bit of an issue. If you want, you can go with like fierce entry too, maybe. Sharp entry is not going to save you though. So yeah, yeah, but or if you want to go with like head start, because yeah, it's already head start 1 over here. Give him another head start, then if you have propulsion 9 on the training move, that's you know, one turn of sync already just gone, right? So that could be nice. Or if you have someone else with at least -1 sync move countdown. Oh no, the training move has it. Never mind. yeah. Propulsion 9 is just over. So in that case, you'd save energy, because going all the way down here is kind of tough just for like a propulsion 9, right? So then, because you don't have anything else around it that really is worth picking up. So yeah. If you do give him head start 1, you'd save that the energy to go down there, right? Just to get that sync move countdown. So grids 2 out of 5. It's not, you don't have much. Let's be real. So just pick up what you can. Catalyst, I guess, is just, yeah. But if you don't sync with him, then no. But I mean, if you do have him, like I'd suggest syncing with him, just because the -3 sync move countdown, right? So that's just always nice to have. All right, so yeah, that's always cool. But yeah, Gobsmack, at least you could confuse, you know, you can confuse someone, burn someone with flame charge. Got move gear trash on flame charge as well, and then, you know, super duper effective. I know, like, he doesn't have any DPS, but it's something at least, right? It's something, because you don't have any other stuff to really pick up. So next up, 3 out of 5. If you just want to get the big sync nuke from him, you could probably go with this, right? Especially if you also have that EX tech roll, right? This is gonna be a massive sync nuke, right? So that could be something nice. I'd recommend, again, this is just for sync nuke, but if you're not just nuking with them, you could also come up here, pick up aggravation, right? That's also really powerful. So yeah, you still have Cakewalk, right? You still have Cakewalk, still got your 2 sync move power up nodes, and then you have aggravation over here, which I think is pretty worth it, right? I think it's pretty nice. So yeah, as for the rest, like the 8, it is a bit of an awkward place because you can't really pick up too much stuff, right? That's like super relevant with this, right? I guess Scorching Touch is like your best bet of all the things. So yeah, I still got Gobsmack and Scorching Touch, right? So that's all right. Yeah, just in terms of just making him a more tech-y kind of unit. I won't go into like the DPS stuff because again, I don't really feel like it's that worth it. So yeah, that's some of the grids. Team comp wise, I feel like the best team comp is pretty straightforward, right? I mean, it's hard to beat this, right? You have Champion Kalem obviously out there being a support, setting and you know, exactly the support that Archer needs, right? Buff wise, and also setting Dark Zone. And then obviously you are missing a lot of DPS over here, and who better to do some dark DPS than our friend Champion Marnie over here, right? So yeah, that's definitely really good. If you don't have Champion Calum, you could still run Darkrai, obviously, but you know, and Darkrai you could probably focus his grid more on DPS stuff, right? Because again, if you're running Archer, you are missing out on a lot of DPS. So in that case, yeah, so you just need like a support. In this case, again, I'd recommend him just because again, you know, you need physical special, and he's the best mix support over here, right? But you know, you could also pick up some other options. I guess like low key, you could still even run him, even though he doesn't buff up physical attack. But you know, maybe over here you just pick up the NPR on X attack instead, right? Just because like everything else he does is so good. So yeah, that's always an option. But you know, just many other older units. I mean, Singsu Blue, right? If you don't have anything else, that's still fine over here, I think, right? Yeah, just stuff like that. MC Torchic if you really got nothing, right? Like, you know, MC Torchic could work. So yeah, there's some options, I suppose. That could be really nice over here. And again, if you have Champion Calum, right, that just makes it just a lot easier to find other dark type damage. Like, you know, you could even run this guy. He's really nice, right? DPS wise, what else? I guess those are like the main ones. I guess you could run the Marnie, the regular Marnie, the Power Trip Marnie, or Summer Marnie, right? Because you know, gauges wise, he gives enough, right? Summer Marnie, so you could also do something like that, right? So yeah, that's that. Just in terms of damage wise, if you're running him for like more of the tech stuff, then you could just throw in whatever team you need him on, right? So next up, Ariana and Arbok, right? The more I look at this unit, the more I like it. Just like Archer, honestly. Maybe you know, maybe I'll start liking Petrel and a bit more as well once I look at his, you know, go over his kit again. So anyways, yeah, this is it's a tech unit, right? A lot of really nice upsides, honestly. There's a few downsides too, but you know, so far upsides wise, you got some nice stuff. So all right, so debuffs. There's a lot of debuffs, right? You got Screech, obviously Screech -2 defense. You also have this thing which makes it -3 defense, right? If you want, you could max it, you could just, you know, -6 physical defense in 2 turns. It does cost you 10 energy, so is that really worth it? I don't know. But anyways, so you do have that. You have Acid, which could debuff the opponent's special defense by 1, which is 10%, but you have Honor Roll 9, so you don't have to worry about that, right? Acid being a 1 gauge move too, so that's pretty solid, right? And on top of that, you also have on entry, you debuff the opponent's attack and special attack by 2, right? You also have Discourage if you want another -1, I guess. Make it -3. Again, -1 costs 10 energy, which I don't think is really worth it. What could be worth it though is overall 9, which is you know, -1 physical attack against an opponent, you know, every single time, right? Which only costs you 8 energy. It is a bit further up though, but you know, you have good nodes here, right? Like Relentless, so that's really cool. So yeah. On top of that, you also have what I like to call the Lucy combo, or BP Erica combo, which is got Badly Poison over here, and you have Trap, right? 50% chance of Trap when you hit them, and you know, 50% chance of Poison with Poison Fang, right? So yeah. Oh well, there's also Hostile Environment if you want to just guarantee it straight up. So that's yeah, got that too. So yeah, it's the Lucy combo. Closer to Lucy than Erica, I'd say, since Erica's kind of guaranteed, right? This is still by chance, but that's nice. You have the AoE Tech Nuke, right? Returns over here. First since Champion Red, right? So you have this the Striker EX roll. It is a tech to begin with, right? Tech Nuke is based on more of the opponent's stats are lower, the greater power of attack, right? You have 430 base physical attack, and then you have Relentless, you got Virulent Toxin 5, you have Interference Sync 5. Honestly, I haven't checked the numbers, but low-key, she might be the best poison, like, nuker in their entire game. And she might even be, you know, one of the best AoE sync nukers in the entire game. Like, damn, like, honestly, she might nuke harder than Champion Red. Let me pause and check myself on that one first before saying something as blasphemous as that. Yeah, I'll ask Runner about that one to see if he could calc that. But like low key, man, like 490 physical attack, Red, only 390, right? In comparison, he has what? Brain power, hail. That's like 50% there, so that's 10, 5. And I believe he has one more, right? Where is it? Oh, yeah, 9, right? So 10, 5, and 9. Ariana has 5, 5, so that's 10, and then another 10, so that's 20. So Red does have more. Well, no, she also has a tech innate because Ariana is tech with Striker EX, but Red is Striker EX with tech. Ooh, yo, we're approaching blasphemous, dangerous territory over here. Wow, this is getting spooky. Anyways, I'll update you guys on that if Runner replies. Wow. Okay, I'm getting scared. Yeah, we might have a new strongest AoE tech nuker here. Next up, we got Gauges. Right, she does have pretty bad base speed. I mean, this is 150, you know, 6 REX, just to compare it with Red. But, you know, at base, that's not very good, right? 283 is not good, but you do have a lot of gauge stuff, right? You got Twofer with Screech, right? So at least when you're screeching, which is probably what you'd be doing, I guess, you know, a decent amount of time, right? You got Free Move next. Acid, it's a 1 gauge with Move Gauge Refresh 9, right? So, like, you do have... you have some gauge stuff, right? But that's why you kind of do have to like differentiate gauges with like speed, right? Because those are different things. Even though they generally contribute to like the same thing, but they contribute in very different ways, right? For example, if your speed is bad, but you have a lot of like gauge support, right? If you have speed support on the team, then that's not going to help that much, right? But on the other hand, yeah, like if you have like overall good base speed on your team, but there's no like speed support, but you have like good gauge back, like that's gonna be nice still, right? So okay, there's not to delve too much into that. And another upside, Healing Hand 4, a very underrated passive in my opinion. I love Healing Hand 4. She has it. It's just 50% chance to remove all status conditions from all ad sync pairs, right? When you use a move. I think it's great. That's all. I think it's great, and again, very underrated in certain legendary arena runs. So, as for some downsides, first of all, again, that bad DPS, right? Like, Poison Fang is your only like regular move damage sort of thing, right? Which is not great. And at least Archer has like some multipliers on that. I don't think she has like any. Does she even have any? I don't see any. But yeah, again, that's not her main. Role, right? Her main role is just a just big AoE nuke. And don't tell any Red fans, but I just did like a really rough calculation, and assuming if like she also has like -2 rebuffs that Red has, she nukes harder. Anyways, don't spread that out, alright? But anyways, okay. Speed, again, her speed is really slow. We distinguished speed and gauges. There's a bit of a difference there, right? And also her setup, right, takes a bit. She only buffs attack by 4, crit by 3 only. I mean, that's still, you take that, you know, 2 years ago, that's like, wow, all right, that's in one move, damn. And you get gradual healing too, that's pretty nice. But you know, no, nowadays. So she's missing like +2 attack, which is not that big a deal. I guess the rest of her kit, like, you know, if you're setting up her nuke, it's kind of hard to get it on the first sync. Again, she does debuff a lot, and she does debuff pretty quickly. I don't think it's fast enough though, right? Because you also have to poison them. You also have to, you know, you have to spend turns poisoning them. You have to spend turns trying to get that, you know, trap in as well, right? Yeah, you need the debuffs for like relentless. So yeah, the setup does take a while. So sync on turn 1, or it's not turn 1. I mean turn 1. Okay, on like first sync, max sync on first sync seems unlikely. Though I guess someone like Oleana could help a lot, right? she could definitely help a lot over there. So yeah, you do have that, right? All right, so now let's talk a bit about the lucky skills, synchro and team comp stuff, right? So lucky skill wise, if you want, yes, you could go with you could yeah, right, crit strike 2 for an even stronger AoE, you know, tech nuke. If you get the EX roll, right, you could go with that. Or you could do something like fierce entry, right? So you don't have to worry about bringing anyone to buffer attack, right? So you could do that. But you know, depending on team comp, you might still bring a support that does that anyway, so it might not be that relevant. Or maybe speedy entry or move gauge refresh, again, just to maybe help with the gauges. Again, I don't think it's going to be that bad, just because the speed's not great, right? But you still got a lot of gauges stuff, and like none of your moves are heavy gauges anyways, right? So I don't think it's like that bad, right? And like the only like really gauge hungry sort of poison unit, well, like never mind, there's a few of them. So yeah, I feel like gauge could be a good one. I'm not a huge fan of the mind games maybe over here. I don't think it's that good of an idea. But yeah, you could definitely do those at least, right? Maybe adrenaline. So synchro wise, at 2 out of 5, it probably goes something like this, right? You got catalytic infliction, right? Helps with the gauges, poison fang, move gauge refresh, and then super preparation on your training move, maybe if you're syncing with her, right? Although, you know, at 2 out of 5, you don't really have your big sync nuke. Multipliers are like maybe not, right? So maybe you could just drop that and spend it elsewhere. Can you afford to skirt? You can. It's not that big a deal because it's just like -1 for 10 energy, so I wouldn't really recommend it either way. But maybe you could drop that for like some like speed nodes, maybe some other just stat nodes, I guess. So yeah, again, not too much at 2 out of 5. 3 out of 5 is where you get like the big stuff, right? So again, the big AoE sync nuke that may or may not be stronger than Rad's. Right? You could do that. Come up here, relentless. You got again all 3 of your sync nuke multipliers. As for the rest, I guess. Wait, ooh, can you afford doing this? Oh man, you can't. All right, you're just 1 away, but it's all right. It's all right. Again, just run someone like Oleana on the side. That would help a lot, right? That would definitely help a lot. Damn, sucks you can't get this either. I guess hostile environment if you want, right? With the rest, you could do that. Or move gauge refresh on poison fang are both good options, I'd say, right? Overwhelm, maybe, right? Maybe. It's just that I feel like you probably just want like a second debuffer on your team, right? And she debuffs defenses all that well, so your second debuff probably would be more attack debuffing oriented. But you know, that's a good option too. So yeah, you could do something like that. You could also why does Terrify 8 energy and Scourge 10? They're like the same thing, except one's physical attack, one's special attack. It's weird. It's probably just, you know, the places, right? I don't even know. It doesn't even lead to anything much, though. It's just like hostile armor over here. Anyways, whatever. So yeah, that's the big sync nuke. If you're not really using her for her sync nuke, which I'm not really sure why you're bringing her in. But yeah, like just as like a pure tech-ish unit. I immediately go for the healing hand because again, I think it's good, right? You could also maybe go for that hostile environment. You do have to pass this though, which is again just a bit of a waste, right? So like maybe just go for that 50-50 chance and like spend that energy over here on like catalytic infliction. Maybe you could go for this, right? You know, saves you a turn from using another screech, which is nice, right? Twofer, you can do that too. Although this is kind of, you know, makes you use 1 less screech, and this one is the more screeches you use, the better, you know, help your team's gauges. So, but it might not be necessary since you already have catalytic infliction. So when you're using screech, that's probably going to be up for the most part, right? I don't think you could afford over a raw. Oh no, yeah, you're 1 away from affording overwhelm, unfortunately. So yeah, might as well go for the 2 for or just move gauge refresh 9 on acid, because again, once that's gone, you probably moved on to starting using acid anyways, right? So I feel like that might be a bit of a better option. Maybe you just get Terrify here instead, right? So yeah, that's for, again, just who you want to just do for like just for tech's sake, Ariana. All right, team comp wise, first of all, you see this team comp and you're like, is this a joke? Well, yes, kind of. Look, this is only a theoretical team comp. Like, you know, because we don't have any other like poison zone units, like again the Fall Iris is the only one out at the moment. But in a theoretical future, once we have like a a better poison zone unit, which hopefully could also tank a bit, right? This is gonna go crazy. This team comp could go insane because like only Ana could just straight up help you set up everything, like almost instantly, right? You also get the poison rebuff there as well. Then theoretically you got poison zone there, and this is might be one of the strongest nukes in the game, like for AoE nukes, right? So yeah, that could be crazy. But unfortunately at the moment, Fall Iris can't really tank that well. So yeah. can't really get all that going here, but I guess you could still run like Fall Iris, just have Poison Zone, and then maybe have like a different support that could maybe help debuff a bit, I guess, right? Or you could just go shorturl again. No, I'm kidding. Don't like, unironically, like shorturl is not that great over here. Like, okay, she has like the debuff, but like just because it's for like DPS, like that's what the physical move up next are for, so she doesn't have that, right? Over here. So yeah, just any like support that could give like +2 physical attack, and could also again just do some nice debuffs that could help, right? So maybe more so on the attack, special attack debuffing side, right? Because she does debuff defense herself, or someone like Champion Blue. Again, he doesn't give physical attack, but he has first sync, defense, special defense -2, right? You also got Overwhelm and Satisfied Snicker. Both of these are AoE as well, right? So that could definitely help if you are going for that AoE tech nuke, right? So yeah, you do got that. But yeah, there's a few options, right? I believe. What does oh yeah, this Clef Key could be nice too, right? With the team stat steal stuff, right? It's kind of random in terms of stats that you get away with, but it works, right? You also have a Fierce Entry, I believe, and Team Give Me 5, so you could max out her physical attack over here as well, and also again the team stat steals if you get the right stats. So Klefki could be a nice one too. Moving on next to Petrel and Weezing, for those who don't know, I guess, right? So Petrel Weezing is a striker, but he does have first of all that EX support, and with that comes tanking. He could he could tank, right, with that EX support role, right, if you get him to EX and like level like 150. Okay, like at level 140, right, you have almost 800 HP, which is a lot of HP. Although the defense still aren't like super great, like 217, 212. It's not that many, but I guess at 150 it looks a bit better, right, with like that. But anyways, but you can definitely tank. He does have endurance on his trainer move. He has defense buffs on his trainer move, right? He has ground guard, so against specifically ground attacking opponents, you kind of have that, I guess, right? You have Ruthless Toxin, which could debuff like random stats. If you get the attacks, then yay, that helps your tanking. So he does have that. Yeah, I guess he also has Flinch, which also helps with the tanking part, I guess, right? So yeah, that's that. He has AoE Poison Nuke, which is a worse Ariana. To be fair, he also has Support EX. He has Support EX over here, right? But he has your striker AoE nuke, right? Which again isn't even that bad, because if you look at him, like let's just take this away. But he has really high special attack stats, right? Like 400, like that's a lot. And then he does have some multipliers, not too many, right? He has Unbuffed Foe, Sync Up 5, and Virulent Toxin 3, so that adds up to what, 8? But he does have like 4 sync move power up nodes, so you should have a pretty good AoE poison nuke over here, right? And at least for him, you don't need the you don't need the EX roll, which is probably gonna take you like 2 months to get, right? Anyways, so there's that, I guess. When you're talking about like his AoE poison nuke, right? Obviously damage wise not gonna be as good as Ariana's, Hero's like one of the best in the game. So but yeah, he also has poison DPS. Again, Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb's not a very powerful move, right? But again, you still have good special attack stats, and you have, I guess, Furious Brain over there, right? And Unbuffed No, that's free move next thing. But yeah, you do have again Furious Brain, and if you could debuff the opponent's special defense a bit with his debuffs, you know, that could be nice. So what else? You got Clear Smog, right? You do have Clear Smog over here, which could, you know, against certain legendary gauntlet like, you know, Cresselia, Latios, that could be really nice. Gauges, again, Gauges is not equal speed. His speed is not very good, but he does have some gauge stuff, especially the unbuff foe freebie, right? 50% chance of getting free move next against opponents without any buffs, right? Which again, Clear Smog. Although, you know, sometimes you Clear Smog them and like next turn they just get it back, which is, or like 2 turns later they buff it and you have to do it again, which is really annoying. Especially since you have to like use it for your Sync Nuke multiplier, right? Which is, yeah. So I'm not a huge fan of the opponents has no buffs thing, right? Based passives, but if you do have it, that's definitely nice for your gauges, at least, right? So that's helpful, I guess. That's definitely helpful over there. So in terms of gauges, so I guess, you know, let's just say like gauges, kinda, right? So all right. Debuffs. He has a lot of debuffs. Again, Ruthless Toxin, talked about that again. -2 on random stats against poisoned or badly poisoned units, right? So that's really nice. You have Mind Games 9 on Clear Smog. Again, Clear Smog itself can, you know, get the raised stats at least down to 0, and which then you could start debuffing, getting negative. And his passive, I believe, yeah, also 30% chance of debuffing opponent's special defense when you attack them, like just straight up. So that's just really nice as well. And next up you have, it is self-sufficient-ish, right? Because the trainer move does give you +3 crit. You do have X special attack. You're missing 2 special attack, which you could get on Grand Entry on your grid, so that's why it's kind of ish, right? So you could choose to be completely self-sufficient, or you could just bring some of that buff to special attack, which is, you know, there's a lot of those nowadays, so. Yeah, there's also Flinch. We talked about that earlier, right? 30% chance of flinching opponents on his passive, and he's a real last word explosion user, because like the thing with last word explosion users, when they're on strike, or when they're on supports, right? When they're on supports, they're like the main tank, and then boom, they go down and they use explosion, but you know, their supports, they don't actually do that much damage. And when they're on strikers, right, you don't want your strikers to die most of the time, so you know, it never really happens either. But he's a real last word explosion user, right? Because he could tank when you're at supporting X roll, so he could be your main tank if you really want. And then he's also a striker that just straight up, you know, as a striker, you have good offensive stats. So he's a real last word explosion user. Yeah, right. He's probably the best one in the game. And yeah, you also have piercing blows if you ever need that as well. So now in terms of like lucky skills for this guy, right? There's a few you could consider if you're trying to use him as like this tank. If you do have him with the EX support role, obviously you probably want something like a healthy healing or vigilance, right? Again, if you do have him as a tank, with the EX support. If not, just for a striker, again, you could obviously still go with the usual trick, right? Which is crit strike 2. You could also give him grand entry 2, I guess, right? If you really just don't want to run a support. So I guess those are options. Adrenaline, maybe. He does have adrenaline, so maybe not adrenaline. So yeah, those are options. As for the sync grid, so at 2 out of 5, you could probably pick up something like this, because he actually does have a decent amount of stuff at, or at least a decent amount of good stuff at 2 out of 5. Not like enough to not have to spend the rest of your energy on just power-ups. But yeah, you know, he has Hostile Environment 1 over there. He has Move Gauge Refresh and Sludge Bomb. You got 2 Sync Move power-up nodes, right, which is rare at 2 out of 5. And then Virulent Toxin, I guess. You want extra, what, 30% on your sync, right? So you could actually like get a decent sync already at 2 out of 5, because you know most of them are at 3 out of 5, right? So that's kind of nice at 2 out of 5. So at 3 out of 5, here's obviously where you get the rest of the grid. If you want to go for your full sync nuke over here, you could definitely do that, right? It's unbuffed foe sync up over here is the other one. That gives you basically that's all your sync stuff, right? Oh, there's another one over here. And as for the rest, you can maybe actually probably go over here, right? Just to add the unbuffed foe freebie instead of moving fresh on Clear Smog. I mean, it's still fine if you want to pick that up, but yeah. As for the rest, I don't know, 8 doesn't really get you much, man. 8 does not really get you much. So honestly, I'd probably just like maybe even just drop one. Again, if you want the full nuke, then sure, right? I guess the rest you could just pick on just, you know, power-ups or whatever. But I'd probably just prefer just drop one and then pick up like Ruthless Toxin, right? Just for those extra debuffs. I feel like that's really nice. If you want Brain Gain 9, that's fine too, right? But again, if you want to just focus like half nuke, half DPS, you could definitely do that too, I suppose, right? If you want to run something like this, where you again just have some of the DPS stuff and got some of the sync nuke stuff there as well. Can you afford something? Yeah, you could do this if you have enough gauges, right? If you want extra special move up next over here. Again, this is just more heavily based on just DPS instead of nuke. If you just don't want to nuke with them at all, which I don't know, I just feel like, again, if you do have EX support, like, get at least one in. But if you don't have EX support yet, right, and just don't sync with them at all, you could definitely go with something like Furious Brain over here, the X special attack Brain Gain, and then you could maybe just go over and pick up like Ruthless Toxin, and then maybe Hostile Environment, unless you have a better poison unit on your team, right? Unit to poison, that's what I mean by better poison unit. Oh shoot, you can't afford that. That slightly sucks. So yeah, as for the rest, again, you probably just Hostile Environment. I feel overall, move gauge refresh, I guess, just as a remedy over there, right? You could definitely pick that up, and yeah, maybe like +2 speed at the end there. Also, oh, I forgot to mention, there's also Adrenaline over here, right? It's not in a great place, but if you do want to sync with them and you want Adrenaline for like a master mode clear, right, you could definitely do that. Again, I'm just not sure how powerful exactly his sync is to like really warrant going for that, right? Again, I'd probably just drop all that stuff over there and just go with the unbuffed foe freebie instead. And yeah, for the last 5, you could just do like some power-ups, right? So yeah, he just has a few like really awkward sync grid stuff, right? So it makes his grid not that fun to really grid. Oh yeah, also if you just want to run him like as a like more of a tank, right? Tank support-ish kind of thing. Assuming you don't sync with him over here either. First of all, there's not that much tanking stuff in his grid. It's like ground guard against like ground type. You know what? Yeah, there's just not that enough tank stuff in his grid to really warrant talking about it. Just if you're tanking with them, if you're syncing with them as well, then sync stuff. If you're not, then go DPS, right? Just so you get a stronger last word explosion. Next up, team comp wise, this is probably the best around right now, right? You know, you have Fall Iris, right, to set Poison Zone. Also, they're both special units, right? They, you know, both like Petrel's like a legit really nice poison unit to pair up with Fall Iris, because like Fall Iris, big issue, like there just wasn't that many like great special sort of poison units, right? Because like all the good poison units are like physical, right? Oleana's physical, Emma's physical, and that's it. But yeah, like there's not that many great special ones, and also there's not that many great special ones that also help debuff special defense, which Petrel does, right? For Brain Teaser, for Fall Iris's multiplier, right? So like Petrel is almost like the perfect unit to run alongside Fall Iris low-key, and obviously Blue, because it's freaking Blue, Champion Blue. He's the best special support in the entire game, right? Obviously, the old ones you can still run, right? Syncs with Brendan, which is also very good here, right? Because of his special defense debuffs. Syncs with Chris. I prefer Syncs with Brendan in this case, though, right? Just because it's Fall Iris. But again, Syncs with Chris, the old stuff could still work, right? New Year Sabrina! Shout out to New Year Sabrina. And regular Sabrina if you don't got anything else going on. So yeah, that's the good old reliables, alright? So alright, last one, we're almost done, folks. Proton and Golbat, right? Damn. This unit, it's a support, right? Like it's a real support now. We finally got an actual support here. And it buffs a lot of things, man. It buffs a lot of things. First of all, the trainer move gives you speed, accuracy, and crit +1 every time you use it. Also gives you a special move up next for your entire team. right? They're all for the entire team, right? And you have 2 uses, right? So even though it's like +1, it's not that bad because it's like 2 uses. The NPR is unfortunately only 2 though on the trainer move, so that slightly sucks. If it was 3, we'd be chilling, right? So yeah, there is that. And you also have like evasion buff on your team. Like if you want, you could buff your team's evasion. It's +1 after every one of your syncs, although you probably just really sync once because it's an EX port, right? And you also have all ramped up on your training move, so if you do want to buff special attack with your training move, there's also that, so that gives you +2. Your passive also gives you another +2, or not +2, but like +1 for your special attack when the user move, so yeah, there's that. That just makes it faster, right? If you pick up all ramped up. Obviously, you also have special defense buffs because you have X special defense all, right? With that one, you could actually like max it out for your team relatively easily, I think. Actually, wait, what's the NPR? Oh, never mind, it's NPR 2. Okay, so the same rate as you could max out your team's crit. So there's that, right? And is there anything else buff wise? I think that's it, right? Which is a lot, which is definitely a lot in terms of buffs. And again, talk about the EX port. You could also tank, right? You could flinch and confuse. He has air slash with aggravation. There's also a confuse ray, and that obviously helps you tank as well, right? Because you got a lot of tanking stuff. Because again, as an actual support, you have legit like really 300 something defenses, 750 HP. Those are really good, right? Again, the defense buffs, and then you have a lot of healing, right? You heal yourself when you attack confused opponents. There's another heal. Yeah, hidden heal with the gradual healing there as well, right? And one of the other upsides, it does have vigilance on the grid, so if you do want to pick that up, right? Want to spend energy picking that up, although I don't know, man. There's a lot of energy you want to spend on this grid, so maybe you might not want to pick it up, but there's also that, which could help your tanking, obviously, right? So those are all great things. Unflappable, right? Natural remedy, those are again just great tanking things. So yeah, he should be a pretty good tank. Safety tether for endurance if you need that. And the other thing is gauges. Again, another one of those situations where like his base speed isn't really that great, although 328 at, okay, it is 5, yeah, okay, it's at 6 REX, so like yeah, like his base speed at like 5-star is like 200, yeah, 288, that's pretty bad. But again, he does have some gauge stuff, right? Again, it's not like great at gauges, but it does help stuff like where is it? Again, all the speed buffs. You also have Proton's plan, which charges your gauge back by 1 on like any move that's successful, right? And when you get hit, you get 1 gauge back. So again, another one of those, like his speed isn't really great, although he does buff his team speed, right? But he does have gauges, so I guess he has a bit of both, right? So yeah, good gauges. There's also, I believe, a move gauge fresh 9 on something. Oh yeah, confuse ray. Okay, that's not that useful just because you won't be using that many confuse rays, but it still exists, right? Oh, also forgot to mention that he does have this as well, right? It's only +2 the first time you use status move, but you do have physical defense buffs there as well, right? So it's not just only special defense. And then you also have speaking of special defense, you have special defense debuffs on Mind Boggler 9 over here, which is guaranteed special defense debuffs against flinch, trap, confused opponents, which again you could do pretty easily, right? At least with confusion, that's always going to be there. So yeah, a lot of upsides for this unit. So as for the downsides, again, he's a support, like base support. So I'm not going to say, he has bad DPS. Like supports are not generally expected to have good DPS anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But he does have a kind of useless EX roll. Like of all the Team Rocket units over here, I feel like he's the one who's like the EX roll is just really kind of invisible, right? Just because like his EX roll is tech, which just doesn't really make much sense, right? Because regardless of how how much you really like his special attack is just not that high, right? 260 is just straight up not that good. And yeah, because like your base is support, you don't even have like an innate nuke over here, and you don't have like you don't have anything else, right? Damage wise on your sync, right? Like like you don't have any multipliers, so it's just like low base damage, no innate, tech, right? And then no other multipliers on your nuke. That's just, yeah, the EX roll is just kind of useless over here. So moving on to lucky skills and sync grid for Proton. Again, even if you do have the EX tech, I would not really suggest going for like, I mean, if you like, okay, if you're like the biggest Proton fan and you just love this guy, you love Proton, you love Golbat, which, I mean, whoever actually like Golbat's their favorite Pokemon, please let me know. I've never seen one before. But anyways, like, yeah, like, unless you're just a massive fan that, okay, alright, sure, Crit Strike 2, right? But otherwise, I would not consider it, right? But as for, like, some actual, like, serious passives you could, or lucky skills you could give him, you could still give him Vigilance. I know he has one on his grid, but it's, you know, it costs, like, 10 energy, and there's just so many great nodes that you could actually pick up on his grid, so, like, I still feel like Vigilance is a solid option over here. What else? You can maybe go with Sentry Entry 2 just to give him more physical defense, right? Because, again, he's good on the special side. Physical side, he's still not bad, right? But, you know, just a bit more over there could be nice. So Sentry Entry would be good. Maybe Adrenaline 1, since you are syncing with him. Well, assuming you are, because you have support, right? So Adrenaline 1 would be nice too, I feel. Speedy Entry... maybe, because again, he does buff speed, and I don't think his gauge are that bad, but I mean, if you really want... Oh, the other, like, downside about, like, his, like, tech nuke, right? It was, like, he's not that great at, like, maxing out his, special attack and crit, like, that fast. Like, he could do it eventually, right? But, like, usually EX supports, you want to use them earlier on, so, you know, it's, like, this tech, the tech EX roll just makes no sense. I don't know why they gave him that. Like, it would have been so much better if they gave him, like, a, sprint EX roll. That would have been amazing, I feel, right? Yeah, I guess Striker would not make any sense either, but if they gave him, like, a sprint, or even field, right, EX roll, that would have been really good. But they're not giving those out yet at the moment. EX rolls, they're only just giving out, just the OG ones right now, so we'll see when they even give out the first one. Synchron wise, 2 out of 5 you have a lot of really good things, to the point where, like, a lot of times, you know, 2 out of 5 you run out of things to really pick out, and you start just picking like stat notes and stuff, or like BP or whatever. For him, it's the opposite issue. Like, there's so many things that you just run out of energy, right? So here's, I feel like the main ones that you want to pick up, right, which is the NPRs for both the trainer move and X special defense. I guess air slash move gauge fresh is not like a must pick up. Head and heal, I feel like that's a really good one. Team speed entry is a really good one. As for the rest, I guess it really depends. If you need more gauges, then, you know, air slash move gauge refresh, confuse ray move gauge refresh 9 over there, right? But if not, then I feel like you'd probably go with evasive rush, right? Just get, you know, +1 evasion for it, and maybe unflappable, just because there are a decent amount of flinch units out there, right? But you could obviously change that depending on the stage you face, and, you know, if you do drop that, oh shoot, you still can't pick up that, but, you know, you can pick up some more defensive stat nodes, right, at least. So there's a defense +10 over here, right? Again, you probably want more physical defense with him, at least, you know, earlier on. Or, oh shoot, how did I not see Natural Remedy right over there staring at me in the face? Natural Remedy, that's probably another, like, must. Right? So yeah, a lot of really good things at 2 out of 5 at least. So for 3 out of 5, again, like, supports, it just really depends on what your team needs. If your team needs that extra crit, right, you want to go with that. If it doesn't, then no, right? Although just having it just for the sake of, like, MP refreshing, again, like a special move up, extra special move up next is still really nice, I feel. But yeah, the hit and heal all ramped up is nice if you just really want the special attack buffs up, like, faster. If not, then obviously, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But otherwise, I'd say Mind Boggler is definitely very nice, right? I probably prefer picking up this NPR over the Move Good Fresh 9 and Confusory, because, you know, you won't be using Confusory too many times, right? Maybe 3 times, 4 times max a battle, right? You know, 1 for each, and then maybe like a second time for the mid once it snaps out of it. Curative Confusion is definitely nice, right? Although if you do think, you know, might have a bit too much healing, right? But, like, the thing I really want is, like, Aggravation 1 up there, which does cost a lot. So if you do want to pick that up, you would have to make some tough choices, I guess, in terms of, like, dropping things, because you're 1 off which is like kind of the worst. Yeah, in this case, like maybe actually curative fusion, that's 8, that's 7. Oh damn. Yeah, in this case maybe. Ooh, this is tough, man. Dude, I don't want to drop any of these. This gives you extra special move up next. This gives you healing. I guess maybe just this, right? I guess you drop the healing. Because again, he should be a pretty solid tank overall, so maybe you don't really need the healing as much, right? Especially if you are getting aggravation, you know, flinched opponent that makes you tank, you know, better, right? Or at least helps in a sense, right? So yeah, you could do that. The rest, you only have 7 over here, so like maybe you could pick up the move gauge refresh. Again, you just can't really afford vigilance, right? Which is the issue with vigilance. You could also go natural remedy if you need that. That's also a great option. So yeah, that's I guess more for like a gauntlet sort of thing. Although honestly, if you are doing gauntlet though, which is where you'd use aggravation the most, right? If you are doing gauntlet, I suppose you could just do this instead. You just don't worry about the training move, because you know getting extra special move up next is not that big of a deal in the gauntlet. Although the extra speed would be nice though. It would. Maybe I guess you could go like something like this instead, right? But if for gauntlet you would want the heals though, so maybe like curative confusion over here, so maybe something like this I feel like maybe it would be better for gauntlet. If you are going for more of a master mode, just boom, want to go in, get things done fast, right? You probably could come down here and pick up team sync think, right, for that extra special move up next after your sync, and then you know you come down here and then still pick up the NPR over here, and then you know, assuming you need that, right, you probably want to go with that. Again, if you don't, then, you know, can you still afford Mind Boggler? Yes, you can. That's nice. That's nice. So yeah, something like that you could do, right? So that could be nice for just faster stuff, right? So anyways, if you watched all the way through up to now, I love you. This is, I don't know, it's like this is easily the longest summon video ever, and probably one of the longest like non-story, non-legendary gauntlet videos as well. It's again, it's 5 units, man, 5 units. Yeah, I'm tired, man. Anyways, but I do have to say, after going through all of these units, it did give me a newfound appreciation for these units, right? Because honestly, some of these look really fun. Some of them, they do look. Ariana looks crazy if you could actually get her, you know, her EX roll, right? And you know, if you do get a great poison zone unit in the future, that could help her as well, right? And you know, Petrel looks super funny with the explosion thing. Even Archer looks cool, right? Like, and obviously Giovanni's always great. So again, I did get a newfound appreciation for these units. So score-wise, it really heavily depends on how they're gonna do the banners, which again we don't really know yet at this moment. We do get a free one, so good luck with that free one. I feel like all 4 of them, I don't feel like they're super far apart. Like maybe Petrel's a bit weaker than the rest, but other than that, right? Yeah, they're all really nice, man. Like whoever you get is yeah, just be thankful. it's free, right? You get one for free. But yeah, assuming there's some way you could pick things, right? How would I order it? Well, probably number 1 Giovanni, right? I'd say number 1 is definitely Giovanni. Number 2, again, just not in terms of like how like strong they are, but like just in terms of like how worth it is just to like get one if you're gonna pick one, because I think there's also like a tiered scout where you get a select one at the end, right? If you're gonna pick one over there, right? So again, Giovanni number 1. Number 2, probably Proton, just because he needs the least amount of investment to be really good, right? Like Ariana, she could be very good, but you do have to invest, right? You do need that like EX roll. Again, same thing with the other 2. So like the least amount of investment for the most amount of like outcome, right? I'd say probably Proton. So Proton, and then maybe Ariana, right? Just because like she has such a high ceiling and potential, but you know she doesn't have it right now. It's more so in the future. Depends, right? If you get that poison zone unit, so that would be really nice. And then I'd say maybe Archer, and then Petrel, probably the last one of these. So that's probably how they'd order them if you're gonna pick one at like some select thing, because they probably would have like a tiered scout, right? I think, if I'm guessing. But again, that's just the thing with these banners, right? We don't really know how it's gonna be structured. How many banners are there gonna be, right? Are they all 5 are gonna be on one banner, or is it they're gonna split like 2 on one and 3 on the other? Or yeah, if they're all on one banner, how are the rates, right? Is it gonna be like 5, right? Is it gonna be 0.4% each to like a 2% like overall, right? Because that would be not very good, right? Or is it gonna be, if it's gonna be 1% each, 5% rate? That would be really nice. If it's 2% each, that'd be insane, like 10% chance. I don't think that's gonna happen. Or are they gonna do something like, okay, we're gonna have 4 of them, the 4 admins are gonna be 1% each, and then like Giovanni's gonna be like maybe 0.5%, right? Just because he's the boss or whatever, which would still be nice. But again, a lot of this really depends on how the banner is structured, right? So like for the score, I can't really give you something definitive, but I'd say something, you know, around like whoa, that's not right. But yeah, it's something along the lines of like maybe like at worst probably 8.2, and then if the rates are really good, then it's like maybe like a 9 out of 10, right? Because again, it heavily depends on how they structure the banners and rates, right? If the rates are super nice, right? If it's like 2% each, then that's a 9 out of 10, right? Because that's, you know, you got like a 10% chance to get one like very powerful unit. That's basically the same rate of Tina showing up in those Paulo summons, right? Which, I mean, you guys saw, like if you got like 20 or something in like one's cup, which is it likely it's going to be 2% each? No, I'd say it's very unlikely. Probably even almost out of the picture, right? But you know, if it was something more like 1.5 or 1% each, that'd be still pretty good, right? That'd still be pretty good. That's what, 4 or 5% each, between 4 or 5% each, or not each, but like total, which is still pretty darn good, right? But then if it's like down at like 0.4% each, because that's the worst case scenario right now. I highly doubt it's going to be worse than that, but 0.4% each, worst case scenario, then okay, then it's like probably 8 out of 2, 8.2, just because the units are still nice, right? Again, Giovanni is still amazing. All the other admins, they you know, again, they have their niche uses, all that stuff that are really nice. So like the units are still really good. So yeah, but if it is 0.4%, then that's going to be a bit tougher, right? So anyways, that's for this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoy. Let me guys, bro, it's been like an hour, man. I can't speak anymore. Oh, let me try that again. That's been this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos for my channel for some more Master content. Oh my god, it wasn't even that good. Anyways, but I need to go. I need to go drink some water. I haven't even, dude, I've not eaten yet. I just woke up and immediately booted my computer up just to record this. But yeah, we're gonna be pulling for this later tonight when that happens. So tune in for that. It's gonna be amazing. This might be the biggest challenge on the channel so far, depending on how the rates go. It could be the biggest challenge ever, or it could be the biggest gift ever, right? So we'll see. All right. See you guys there. Good luck, guys, are pulling, and I'll see you guys in the next one.